Hello, everybody, and welcome back to let's just turn that off. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Kobold Chats. My name is Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer, and man, it's been a hot second. It has been a hot second, but it's another beautiful Friday afternoon, evening, whatever it is. I guess, I don't know where the line between afternoon and evening begins, but hey, it's Friday, the end of our week, the middle of our day, and hopefully you're getting ready for the weekend to come. You know, maybe you're still at work, maybe you're on your way home, maybe you are at home just hanging out, whatever it is that you're doing. Thanks so much for being here with me, doing one of my favorite things, talking about Kobold Press. I feel like it's been so long since the last time I did a Kobold Chats, but I know that's simply just not true. It's probably been like 2 weeks. Probably because I was gone last week. I had to go to the New Jersey. I went to New Jersey for a festival to celebrate actual plays and stuff like that. It was super fun. But hey, now I'm back and I get to be here with all of you. So let's diggity do it, gang. We've got a lot to talk about today because today is the final day of the Northlands Kickstarter. Let's get on over there. All right, Jiro. Yeah, bam. So first off, we're talking about the fact that the Northlands Kickstarter ends in just 2 hours. Now, hey, look at this bad boy. We are sitting, earlier today, we hadn't hit our stretch goal of 225,000, but here we are now, not only having surpassed our goal for 225,000, we have also superseded it by another 5,000 with 2 hours to go. In this kind of momentum, can we make it to 250? That feels like a bit of a stretch. But hey, oh my gosh, I can't believe, we made it to 225,000 to 230,000, and that's thanks to all of you, with over 2,000 backers, 2,145 backers, to be precise, and 2 hours to go. The Northlands Kickstarter is sitting very, very nice. Now, let's look at what we just unlocked at that 250,000, after a scroll or 225,000, excuse me. So, thank you so much. Thank you to all of you who backed the Northlands, getting ready for some fantastical Viking inspired adventures. And at 225, it looks like the thing that we got here were 5 more monsters. Wait, hold on, I'm gonna zoom in a wee bit. Just going to zoom in a wee bit, make this a little bit easier to read for us. Yeah, there we go. We got 5 more monsters in the Northlands World Book, including, and I'm so sorry, I don't speak Swedish or really any Nordic language to be able to properly pronounce these. So I'm going to give it my best shot. We've got 5 more monsters in the World Book, including the Hafgufa, the Hafgufa, the Huskarl, the Mirkrul, the Skeljaskra feels right, and then the Skogsra. Man, a lot of words that I can't pronounce because they're too cool for me. But yeah, who's upset with 5 more monsters, 5 more beasties to throw at your gangs? By your gangs, I mean your table, your adventurers, your Vikings. So so we unlocked that today, and hey, if by some miracle, if you can reach deep into your pockets, reach out to all of your friends and say, hey, today is the last day for it. Maybe, just maybe, in these last 2 hours, we could get to that 250,000, which will get us not only a new region of Hrafnheim, we also get 2 more species, the Ratatosk and the Ravenfolk. Two birdies and squirrels hanging out, going on adventures, killing giants. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be fun? Maybe we can make it, maybe we can't. But there's only one way to try, and that's going out. Going out and letting your friends know they have 2 hours left. Hope this Kickstarter is going well. I didn't go for this one, but I've been to almost all of your other books. Hey, understandable. Not every book is for every person. I understand. Thank you so much. And we got to that. We got through one more stretch goal before the end, and maybe, just maybe, with 2 hours left, maybe we could get one more. That'd be super cool. It'd be wild if we could. Glad Northlands is finally getting some love, right? You know, yes, the Northlands is in the Midgard world book, but it needed to be fleshed out more. It needed more information about the people, the culture, the history, the conflicts going on, so that you can have everything you need to set an amazing adventure there. So, cheers to the Northlands. I'm sure that should have been like ale or something, but all I had was water. So that's what we're dealing with. All right, next up, we've got to talk about the All Hallows Eve sale, because it's Halloween, gang. It's October. October's finally here, which means we've got a lot of stuff for you coming up. First and foremost is the All Hallows Eve sale event. Now, you can find this over on the Kobold Press store. There's a little banner that says it, but guess what? I'm gonna make it super easy for you, and I'm just gonna put it, bam, right there in the chat. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, but before the thing ends on October 31st, you can go find it in the link in the description. But yeah, it ends October 31st. It's an all holiday, all Halloween, all October live sale where you get 30% off on all the titles below, and we're going to be adding more titles and rotating them out as the weeks go on. So right now you can get 30% off of a bunch of different warlock layers, you find yourself in the Forgotten Temple PDF, and the creature codex in various forms that it exists, including softcover, the Fantasy Grounds, Foundry, Roll20, and Shard tabletop license keys. And on October 16th, guess what? We're going to rotate it out for a brand new set of scares. So you can go get that now. And like, come on, each of these PDFs are about like $2.75 right now. It's pretty cheap. That's less than a meal at most fast food restaurants right now, even if you order off the dollar menu, because dollar menus are fake and lies. They are lying to us. They aren't dollars anymore. But you know what is? But you know what's cheaper than a McDouble? Warlock Lair 48, the Garden of Shade and Shadows PDF. Let's see what this is. Because I've looked through some of the Warlock stuff before, but I haven't like really looked at. So this specific Warlock Lair is a magical garden of shadows that have enveloped Mazar Manor. The nearby village of Ogrodu trembles with fear because the paths and plants of the garden labyrinth around abound with monsters, shadow creatures, and untold dangers. The PCs may visit Ogrodu by happenstance or through runners sent from the village seeking aid. When the PCs arrive, they come upon the village under attack. Wait, hold on. It's getting away. The residents of Ogrodu fear they will be blamed for the disappearance of their nobleman, Lord Mazar, the Rector. Elena Braun sends runners out in search of capable individuals who can find the missing noble and rescue him. The adventure contains contains the village, manor, and shadow garden portions for a variety of encounters. This adventure for 5th edition of the world's first RPG is meant for 4th or 5th level characters designed by, Brian Suskind, with cartography by Dyson Logos and cover art by Phil Stone. The Warlock layers, man, they seem so cool. I wish we still did Warlock, but hey, we don't. But it always will exist. I went to a local game store not too long ago. And there was a Warlock Layers, too, in hardcover. And I almost got it, but I didn't have the money for it, so I didn't. But maybe if I go back and they still have it, I'll pick it up. We'll see. So, that's the kind of stuff that you can expect for the All Hallows Eve sales event, which I think is pretty neat. So, we got a couple of more things. We will be doing our interview with Chris Cologne I'm not doing the interview. I've already done the interview. I'm going to show you the interview because I recorded it. And so we'll have some time where we look over that. But before then, let's talk about the Kobold Scarecase, which is coming up next week, Friday and Saturday, October 10th and 11th, which you can find, which will be live here on Twitch and YouTube. So, you can go over to koboldpress.com/scarecase-2025. I'm putting those links once more in the chat. And hey, guess what? There's a whole schedule here that you can find here. That's right. We're doing a gaming stream-a-thon kind of thing where Friday and Saturday, me and some of the other kobolds are just going to play some spooky Halloween type games. Not all of them are Halloween type games because I'm also playing Pokemon. So it's just going to be kind of like a fun community event where also we will be doing giving out discounts for a bunch of different stuff. So like for the Pokemon one, guess what? You'll be able to find we're doing a Pokemon Nuzlocke, and over the course of that, you can get Monster Vault 1 for a discount. It'll be fun. It's just something kind of lighthearted. Hey Sly, how's it going? But it'll be just something kind of lighthearted, fun, and we can just hang out, play games all weekend, talk about ttrpg stuff. It'll be a blast. So join us next week, next Friday through Saturday, October 10th and 11th for that. And you can find all of the scheduling stuff in there. I think it'll be a good time. I've been working real hard on the production stuff of it, and I've learned a lot about OBS over the course of time. If you couldn't tell by this, isn't that fun? I don't know what that was. Okay, cool. So hope to see you then. Now, I do want to talk about the blog. We will get to the blog, but before we get to the blog, let's talk about our Kobold Creates project. One of our Kobold creators, Chris Cologne of Taíno Tales. So I'm going to send you all over to that, and we'll be back after. Don't go anywhere. Or, you can get up and walk around, but listen, because it's important and cool. I think it's fun. So, see you then. And thank you so much. Me from the past? Yes, my past, you all's present. And here I am again, talking with none other than Chris Cologne of Taíno Tales. How's it going, Chris?
Hello, future, past, in between time people.
Time is a little wibbly wobbly
Yeah,
here.
time's
In
a
the Labyrinth.
concept, so
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
individual.
Yeah, whenever you are, thanks for being here. But yes, Chris, you were one of our Kobold Creates recipients last year as well as this year. And because truly both of your ideas rock and are super sick. And so it's super great having you aboard again with your new project, Ascension. But before we get too deep into that, for anyone who doesn't know what Taíno Tales is, what is Taíno Tales and what kind of tales do you tell?
Yes, Taíno Tales is I think about either between 2 or 3 years old now. It's my channel. I produced a number of shows with a bunch of wonderful individuals. Primarily, it's tales that really focus on the weird aspects. Fantastically weird worlds is what we love to explore on Taíno Tales, and we like to do that with a plethora of wonderful people in online space focusing on BIPOC and queer voices, and especially being me. It's one of the few channels that are owned and operated by a Latin person within the space, which I take very, very dear to heart. We've done a number of wonderful shows that have gone through various accolades. We have really a split in between one world, which is just Weird Earth, is what we like to call the Weird Earth saga, which is based around the 80s, and it's got monsters, aliens, and all. It's very comic booky in that sense.
Yeah.
And we've done the Mythic Initiative. We've done all kinds of. The last thing we did was the Wildfire Club, which was like Life is Strange-esque, which everybody kind of loved and liked. And then the one that's a more prominent here, especially the one we've done more work for Kobold Presses, is the Era of Revolution, which has Forsaken, which has recently been in our accolades recently with the whole WebFest circuit going around. It's got a lot of stuff. We're still very surprised, very honored with how that's going. Thank you. And then the last thing we did with Kobold Press was the Stewart's War, which was also another wonderful little show we did with the folks here at Kobold Press and also the folks over at Chepeku Maps. Which really came out nice. So we do pretty much, it's fantasy. It's like, do you want it with your, you want urban or you want fantasy? It's like, just which one you want?
Which one do you want? And regardless of which one you choose, you're getting something weird and you're getting something fun.
Getting something weird, but it's gonna be okay. It's good.
Gonna be good.
Weird. You're gonna feel sad at some point. It's gonna get funny at some point, and it's just gonna get weird at some point. But it's good.
It's good. Hey, the awards speak for themselves, I think. So, So let's talk about your project that you're doing for this year's Kobold Creates. That is inspired by and influenced by the Labyrinth Worldbook and Labyrinth Adventures, and that is Ascension. So, what is this story? What are the tones, themes? How did this idea get developed for you?
Yeah, so essentially, the plot of what Ascension is,
Yeah.
this is if we're looking at timeline stuff, Stuart's War was kind of the past, Forsaken was kind of like the present of the timeline. Now this is like continuing off of Forsaken, so it's kind of happening right after those events
Hmm.
there. But essentially, what this show is about is that your task is simple. You're to infiltrate a famed multiplanar city and distract an individual known as the Lantern from the sort of city's clutches. It sounds simple, but the labyrinth is, nothing's ever easy there or here. So the characters themselves have to prepare themselves as they venture deep into the unknown of what is essentially this mega fallen city and try to find a way out. And along the way, kind of asking the question, what will you do to escape your labyrinth? Essentially, the
Ooh.
idea itself came from a combination of two things. One of the things at the time when the applications went out, I was watching somebody do a playthrough of The Walking Dead, the Telltale series,
Mm-hmm.
and I never really I knew what happened in the first game, but I didn't really know what happened in like the other seasons. And I was watching the other seasons unfold, and it's very much of like that post-apocalyptic story about this person who really gets thrown into this situation and then has to evolve or die in that sense. And it's, there's other people there trying to survive as well. And then the other thing that I also was just watching because in my spare time, either if I'm working out or if I'm trying to do work, I try to have something in the background. And
Yeah.
I found that video game like cutscenes are the I've listened to one of the ones I've listened to most is was it Thronebreaker from the Witcher Tales game, which is about 8 hours worth of stuff. I've watched it over 10 times.
That's so funny.
Because it's a really good story, and I always get lost in it because it's like a very narration. It's the perfect thing
Hmm.
ever existed, and I've watched it 8 times and counting still because I still watch it when I'm like I need something. Um, but at the time, I decided to kind of rewatch BioShock Infinite because the other ones are cool and everything, but Infinite was like the one I actually played and
Hmm.
was able to get my hands on. I thought it was interesting. So, especially with looking at the application and understanding that the labyrinth was, this is multiplanar. So this isn't exactly our plane. It isn't just a regular plane where you have
Yeah.
your standard amalgamations of fantasy. This is something that uh,
Can
is a little bit
expand.
more. Yeah, it's extra planar. It's a little bit in a sense weirder. It's more. They have different ways of looking about things, and how does this society develop if it's all fire or all water, or how does that work?
Hmm.
And that's kind of where the idea came from. Because with Bioshock, you have like, yeah, this is the world, but then there's an element of fantastical, like, but since we live here, we did things different. Both in like the
Yeah.
first Bioshock games, where it's like underwater, and also Bioshock Infinite, which was like in the sky, and their whole societies, how they developed.
Hmm.
But also, I wanted to do a story that is your not your standard, but this game is a little bit interesting because we only have two players in the cast, so it's very much focused on these two individuals, which is like and I'll explain later, but one is like a very experienced individual who's kind of gone through the world, seen things, and another one is somebody who knows nothing about the world, and the two of them are kind of working together to escape from the world that they're in. So I
Yeah.
wanted to focus on like that older and inexperienced relationship going through. So it was it was an idea that formed in my head and very much like put it down on paper and we'll fix it later. And now we're here.
That's so good. And I love the dichotomy between like having like this character who knows this strange world, knows the labyrinth, knows how things can get weird versus this person who's just jumping in, kind of that like that audience oh my god, I forgot the word that I was looking for. like kind of like the audience stand-in of like what's going on, what's happening.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
the other interesting is ideologies as well, because
yeah,
the person who's the old or the more experienced character has seen a lot, gone through a lot, and they ultimately are in a place where they feel certain things about life in general versus this wide-eyed wonder who's only read books. So it's like you have those. It's going to be very interesting to see how their relationship develops from this person entering into the chaos of what this fallen city is essentially.
yeah. Is that going to be at all like I guess like shown in like a mechanical way? Like are they starting off at different levels for each other from each other, or is it primarily going to be like a narrative separation as far as
Yeah,
your
it's more narrative separation because especially with the system, if you if you have a level 1 and a level 8 journaling together, it's gonna be real messy if when combat comes around.
yeah.
But experience wise, I mean, you have your standard level up. Usually for our shows when we do this kind of system, I try to do 3 levels. Usually we go from 8 to 10. You know,
Mm-hmm.
8 is when you're beginning, 9 is in the middle to sort of show that you're developing, and then 10 is like for finale time or towards the end
Mm-hmm.
because it's a nice mesh. It lets you show off the system. Also, it's not too much for a player to get worried about.
Yeah.
But essentially, yeah, it's more in the terms of we've really focused on the backstories in developing that,
Mm-hmm.
and trying new things about, asking cast members, this is the idea we have. Where do we want to go with this season? What's essentially the main thing when we're doing our session zero is what does your character want to teach this character, and then what does your character want to teach about that character at the end of this? So
Yeah.
it's more narratively what we're looking at here. So I'm very interested to see how these two play off of each other.
That's so interesting. Well, I mean, we're already kind of talking about them. Is there so who are these two heroes or uh, adventurers? I should say, I guess, that we will be following.
Yeah, so I got him here. Both of the wonderful cast members here that we have with us, they're both EU folks, which is it's by happy accident it's kind of made this our first more EU, entirely EU cast, but also in a time zone which is EU friendly as well. So it's just a happy accident of working with these EU folks. You gotta make that time there. But the two people we have here are I have Apollo, Tall Apollo Nerd, and Syrinx. They're both wonderful, wonderful people that I've known and I've always wanted to work with for a long time and finally got to. And the characters they made, without getting too spoilery, was essentially two people here that we have called Syrinx is playing somebody called essentially their tagline in a sense is the fallen. This is somebody who for within this setting there's a big empire that's in the mortal plane that kind of rules everything. This individual is essentially the closest you could describe them as is a combination between a witcher and a space marine in a sense. This very
Ooh.
mutated individual who kind of survived these trials, served the Empire for some time, but due to these events, they were kicked out and sort of exiled within to the extra planes as to serve their sentence there. And the other
Mm-hmm.
person, and that, I'm sorry, going back to the mix between the Space Marine and Witcher, they are playing a paladin named Kaitra, if I'm pronouncing that right. And that's that character there. The other one we have here is an artificer known by Anki, who is played by Apollo. This person is an individual who was born within the planes themselves, the extraplaners themselves, so they've never seen the material world, the mortal plane, and spend
Mm.
most of their time really locked away in a tower. And on top of that, the city itself has built a sort of not religion in a sense, but very much a prophecy of this person known as the Lantern will help us escape this labyrinth or escape the planes. Because
Mm-hmm.
within this setting, the people that are in the city aren't just there because they want to live there. It's more of they got stuck there, and the city hasn't moved for like over 25 years. So it's very much of like this individual that has been very much like propagated will lead us out. They don't know what they're gonna do. We don't know what's gonna happen. They don't know what their role is. But with that, there are this lantern, this prophet figure, and the two of them are coming together to sort of work things out and escape.
Oh, that's really interesting. I think I like this kind of take on the labyrinth, right? Where like your story is so much more focused on a like like a smaller portion of the labyrinth, right? Where it's like it's this one very fantastical, very weird city, and then this person who's coming in to like try to find the lantern, so on and so forth. But I think it goes to show that like within the labyrinth, you could do big multiversal. Oh, all of the planes are being destroyed. The void's coming in. This cult, and it's like no, we're focusing in on like the labyrinth as context is representative of like all of these possibilities that these people can go to potentially that they want that freedom, want out of this one little bubble. And I think it's just a really interesting way to use the labyrinth as not just an excuse to do like, oh, we're hopping from world to world. We're
Yeah,
doing
I
like
mean
the kind
that's
of
partly the reason why I thought of the idea, because one, it can be a little, I understand from a GN standpoint, it's like, especially if you have to deal with one plane, the mortal plane, and try to populate that with enough lore for players to be engaged with, try to do various planes, which would probably maybe have its various pantheon of its very own things, can be challenging. But I also wanted a challenge myself to try to do a setting that was a little bit smaller in a sense.
yeah,
Usually what I do uh, in the sort of more urban fantasy, it's a little easier because it's urban.
it's
You're
like a
in a city.
city.
That's
Yeah,
it. But versus fantasy, Forsaken Stewart's War, they both were on a continent, which has a lot of stuff you have to consider.
yeah.
So I wanted to do something smaller, and then also, the city itself is essentially, again, not too spoiling anything, was essentially an arc. This is very much, it was something they built from the ground up to be this sort of arc for people to come back and live on.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, the plains, in terms of Labyrinth itself, are represented in the city. The bottom layer is like for water and ice. Or, those more, those planes there. The next one's like fire and industry. The next one
Mm-hmm.
above that is a little bit more about those celestial realms. And then, the top is just more of like the exit or the front. So even though it is one city in one place, it still is very representative of the ideas of what these extra dimensional planes are in one place, rather than it being this place, this place, this place, this place, and try to populate all that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It sounds fascinating, especially like having all of these things like represented, as you said, like in this one place and how all of those people then have to like interact with each other, right? If you have these like, yeah, I live in the ice place.
Yeah, and
Sorry,
then
fire
you add
guy.
on to the fact that it collapsed. It's like, how do those people now interact with each other now that they're in survival mode?
Yeah, exactly. And that'll be, I imagine, like a fascinating experience again from like the one person who's like, yeah, I've been here. We've been dealing with this. There's a lot of stuff going
Yeah, Greg
on.
used to give me my groceries. Now he tries to kill me on my afternoon
And it's like,
patrols.
and I can't blame him.
I
He's
can't blame him. The
hungry. So,
economy's on the toilet.
so yeah, no, I think it's gonna be so good. I'm really excited about this. So with this being your second game, or not necessarily
Third, I
your second
think.
game,
But
um,
yeah, I get what you mean.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. For
I got.
using Tales of the Valiant, is there anything that you're taking from your experience last time and like you're like, okay, I want to try new things with this, or like I want to try it a different way, or even things that you're excited to do again that you thought was really effective last time?
Yeah, I mean, for this time around, I have two people, so that
Hmm.
that is a whole experiment in itself. Because usually when you're playing a game, especially with this kind of system, usually three is a minimum of like. So especially when you have combat, you don't want people to get hit or die in that sense
Yeah.
immediately. But I wanted to challenge myself here, and I decided to went with two for one, story purposes. I've done one player and I've done three player, never done two player.
Hmm.
And I didn't want to do one player because that's a whole other mess and it's a
Yeah.
lot of energy. I needed somebody. I was like a bare minimum. I need another person. So when I need to take a break,
Hmm.
but combat is something that's I'm experimenting with, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. Because there is the base rules that Kobold Press has, but I also have taken into consideration what other folks and friends do. Connie Chang's has a wonderful little thing of like accelerating the combat, so it isn't too bogged down or anything like that when you're doing two people, and to make it
Mhm.
more exciting. I think the other thing as well, what we did before with the system was using, your luck and doom and adding on to the sort of more objective based combat rather than that's that person, kill them and it's over.
Yeah.
Because it gets a little bit more exciting when you have to, yeah, you could kill this person. Yeah, it's kind of thing you have to worry about. But also it's like the train is running around. You need to stop this train before you die that way. It's like you could kill him, be like, yes, I got it, but you may still die.
Yeah.
So I think it's very interesting, especially for players, because they have to determine, do I want to spend my turn dealing with the situation I'm in right now, or do I want to hit this guy that's been pissing me off since episode one? So it leads into what decisions are you going to make, and then how does the story play out from there? Because if you kill the guy, you did it, but then who's going to suffer for those consequences there? Which I
Yeah.
think Tales of Valiant does very great with its luck and doom, because it provides opportunities for people to go on to that wish, or to what, and sort of explain the consequences of those wishes. And also when we were making characters, they love the idea of making characters. They drew a lot from the newer races and stuff that was in the book, so
Hmm.
they love that there. And I'm not going to spoil it too much because I don't know if they want me to say or not, but I'm very excited for their movement types, how it will play into how
Ooh.
they interact. So I'm very excited to see how that goes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that
I don't want to
sounds
say
great.
too much because I don't
Of
know what
course.
they. Even though I'm head boss, I don't know what my players want me to tell,
They're
not
like,
tell.
no, I wanted to reveal it in this
To
specific
reveal,
way.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
No, I feel, hey, players are very precious about their characters, and I can't blame them. They spend a lot of time making them and spend a lot of time playing them, so it's up to them. But this has been wonderful. Where can people find the show, and when is it coming out, so that they can get I guess it's not spoiling if you're watching it, so they can actually experience it as the players would want it to happen.
Y- Yeah. So in terms of where we're airing the show, we're airing on Taíno Tales, which you can check on our Blue Sky, which will have our link to our Twitch. Right now, we are aiming for October 25th at 2 p.m. Eastern to be airing our shows. The schedule itself is going to be a little bit weird because we'll try to. The dates are a little bit weird because the cast members themselves are doing other shows, and also that I'm an East Coaster working with EU folks. So while the time itself, 2 p.m., will be consistent, the dates will be a little inconsistent just because of busy and everything, but it will be finished. And as always, when we air an episode, we upload it to YouTube, so it will feel complete there, if anything. And it will always be there. So, but at the moment, we're aiming for the 25th at 2 p.m. Eastern for our air time.
Awesome. And of course, anybody watching this, you can find all of that down in the description of this video. So you can just go on and click follow them on Blue Sky and follow and subscribe on Twitch, whatever you want. But awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. This was so sick, and I can't wait to see what happens in Ascension. And I also want to know about this lantern guy. But
I'm, so-
I
I'm very excited too. I can't wait for the show, everybody.
Awesome. Well, I'm sending it right back to you, me from the my future, you all's present. Okay, sorry about that delay, everybody. But we are back. Mr. Light, I asked for support to potentially come in to chat to help you, since I am not necessarily equipped to be able to do so. So hopefully they will be in here soon. Thank you so much for your patience. And for everyone else. Now, before we finish off for today, I wanted to check out the Kobold Press blog, because I love the blog, as you all know, because I won't stop talking about it. And I wanted to talk about one that came out a couple of days ago by Joseph Adams, which brings us a new downtime activity that we get to use, and it's especially great for us bard mains out there. All right. Look at this. Your bard can collect fans for performing with this downtime activity. Downtime is one of the less appreciated additions of the Tales of the Valiant RPG to the 5e space. Downtime creates a play-tested, workable, fun system for your characters to have a life when they're not going down holes in the ground. Excuse me. The player's guide contains 5 common downtime activities, including researching, training, and the ever-popular carousing. But there's no way that list is exhaustive. Here's a new downtime activity that lets you show off your moves. Performing. You can you can spend downtime performing at taverns, parties, or other events. Types of performances include singing and or playing musical instruments, poetry readings, acrobatic, stage magic, and animal acts. It takes time, as all of them do. To complete this activity, a PC must spend at least 1 week of downtime, which is a typical unit of downtime, because they happen in weeks. Cost: for each week spent performing, a PC must spend money to cover expenses such as purchasing or repairing materials, including instruments, outfits, actor equipment, so on and so forth, greasing palms at venues to secure the best time slots, or advertising their shows. The cost depends on the venue. Listed costs cover an entire week of performing. The lower class: 10 gold pieces, performances at cheap taverns or inns, or just in the street. Middle class venue: 50 gold pieces. Performances are at an upscale inn or tavern, at small arenas or auditoriums, at town festivals, or at parties thrown by successful business people or minor nobles. Add 50 gold pieces to the monetary reward. Sorry, my brain. There we go. Add 50 gold pieces to the monetary reward gained from performance at middle-class venues. Performances at a private party thrown by nobility or municipal leader, or at a large arena. That's upper-class venues. Most communities don't have the economy to support this type of venue. The GM decides whether this tier of venue is available in any given location. Add 250 gold pieces to the monetary reward gained from performances at upper-class venues. Basically, making your money back so you don't necessarily lose money at any point in time. You might just get no money. But you gotta have at least enough money to start off. Resolution: after each week spent performing, depending Book of Blades. Ooh, maybe next time we don't have an interview, we'll go through Book of Blades, because I checked through and there's a new paladin subclass in it that I'm really, really enjoying. It's the Anamnesis Paladin, the one that's about the memory, tied to memory, and remembering one's heroes and trying to embody them. Similar in the way of kind of the Valor Bard, but in a paladin-y kind of way, as if you were taking up their own name, kind of lost in the character and the memory of who that person is in a more iconic form of them, if that makes sense. It seems pretty sick. Depending on the nature of the act, a PC makes a charisma, performance, or dex, acrobatics, musical instrument, or sleight of hand, wisdom, animal handling, or a similarly relevant ability check to determine if they made money or gained any fans, as shown on the performance resolution table. Bards make this roll with advantage. Ooh, that's cool. You get a little bonus for being a bard. But anybody can do this. Outstanding results can be limited by the number of people in the community, and audience tend to witness your performance as determined by the GM. So, on a 1 to 10 check, your performances are somewhere between middling and dreadful. There are either some hecklers or someone falls asleep during the show and begins snoring loudly, or both. You lose the money you spent on setting up and promoting the show. In addition, you lose a number of fans equal to 20 minus your check result. The minimum, so 20, oh my, oof. 10 times 20, that's 200 fans. How could you have that? You lose a number of fans. Equal to 20 minus. Oh, 20 minus, okay. I don't know why I thought this had multiplied. So 20, so you'd lose 10 fans. Okay, that makes sense. Minus your check result. Here's the good news. No one who saw your act will ever come to another one of your shows, and anyone else almost certainly won't have heard of you. So when you do your next show, it'll be like it's your first, which is just as well, really. 11 through 15. Your performances vary from satisfactory to lackluster, but at least no one boos or throws anything at the stage. Plus, your friends assure you that you are great, and surely they wouldn't lie to you to spare your feelings. You recoup your cost, but don't make any money or any new fans. Your audiences are happy with your performance. If you have a merch table, you definitely sell a decent amount. And you sign some autographs, but it's disappointingly easy for you to move about freely after the show. You recoup your costs, and you earn an amount of gold equal to your proficiency bonus times 10. You make a number of fans equal to your proficiency bonus times 10. So let's say you're starting off at level 1, right, doing this? Or even level 2. Let's say level 2. You get 20 new fans, and you make 20 gold. A decent amount of gold that you've made over the costs. Not bad. But if this is an upper class event, that's 70 gold, which is like a decent bit more. So doing it at higher, higher class events gives you a bit more to work with. Your audiences are thrilled at a 21 through 25. After your shows, you need security to clear the way, lest you be mobbed by your adoring fans, and you lose track of how many times people cried out that they loved you. You recoup your costs, and you earn an amount of gold equal to your proficiency bonus times 25. Furthermore, you make a number of new fans equals to your proficiency bonus times 25. Your audiences are enthralled at a 26 through 30. Depending on your act, the audience knows all the words and sings along, gasp collectively as if on cue at the appropriate moments, or burst into thunderous standing ovations. You recoup your cost and you earn an amount of gold equal to your proficiency bonus times 50. In addition, you make a number of new fans equal to your proficiency bonus times 50. And at 31 plus, your audiences are mind blown by your performances. Many tears of joy are shed. You have them in the palm of your hand the entire time. Several people in the audience pass out from excitement of being in your presence. You recoup your costs and you earn an amount of gold equal to your proficiency bonus times 100. You also make a number of new fans equal to your proficiency bonus times 100. How does it get better than a standing ovation? People passing out. People shedding tears. People being there like a pull of a string. You've got them. You've got them. This would be so fun. Like, this is like just like such a fun thing to do, and especially like if you are a person playing a character who's a performer, be them a bard or whatever. Like having the ability, having like hard mechanics that help guide you and the game master in a way of doing this that isn't just like, oh yeah, you know, this was cool and fun. Like this gives you like it gives you a framework to then work within, because even those descriptions then like, okay, that's something you all can like role play out, right? You can make new NPCs that come out that get like connected. I mean, you have all these fans, right? You can like tie that into who that character is, and they get to play the fiction that they want to as the traveling performer. Like it's yeah, right? It's so cool. Oops, I didn't mean to put 39. That's just, that number means nothing. But let's see what it means to make fans. Making a fan via performance represents time spent performing well enough that a number of people at your shows shift from casual observers to active fans. Unlike contacts, fans can't be called on to help by performing favors for you. Fans typically don't need names or even function, such as a city guard or spice merchant. However, the GM can decide that a previously encountered NPC becomes a fan and might create new, distinct fan NPCs. If you have to make a charisma check while interacting with a fan, you have advantage on that roll. Ooh, so I love the idea of also taking old NPCs and be like, wow, this is like one of your like 25 fans now, and like maybe you get some discounts over at the local inn, you know, because the barkeep, huge fan of yours now. You can perform here whenever you want. You get the best time slots and maybe even a free room. And now that's a way that you can start tying in like a player's performance and the fiction of being that kind of person into the story in a very natural way that will also like give them like an experience that they probably never like genuinely had as a character. So hey, I think this is pretty cool. Cultural influence. The number of fans you have can influence certain ability checks you make due to your cultural influence. If you make a charisma, deception, or persuasion check in a village or town, or city, where you've completed this downtime activity at least once, you can add the fan modifier listed on your fans and followers table to the roll. If you have 5,000 or more fans, you can use this benefit in nearby villages, towns, or cities, even if you've never completed this downtime activity there. You can add your fan modifier to a roll. To roll a number of times equal to half your proficiency bonus rounded down. Wait, hold on. Okay, so at level 1 you can, okay, cool. Once you've expended all of your uses of this benefit, you can't use it again until you are in a different village, town, or city, or until you complete this downtime activity again. You can't use this benefit if you are pretending to be someone other than yourself. Note, the GM may rule that certain individuals are immune to your cultural influence, and thus this benefit cannot be used on checks associated with them. Okay. You show up to the general store and they're selling unlicensed merch. See, that sounds like a fun side quest to have to deal with. The licensing, the licensing of your merch. So if you have 100 fans or fewer, that's +1. 101 to 500, +2 fan modifier. 500 to 2,000, +3, because you're popular. 2,000 to 5,000, you're an icon. 5,000 plus, superstar. To book a venue, you or another PC on your behalf must succeed on a charisma persuasion check. The DC varies. Lower class DC 10, middle class 20, upper class 30. Reference the fans and followers table to add the fan modifier to the roll. You can using your fan modifier to book a venue does not count against the number of uses from your cultural influence. Attempts to book an upper class venue automatically fail if you have 500 or fewer fans. So if you're not popular, you can't go to an upper class venue. Oh, this is so cool. This is cool. Now I'm thinking of doing like an Oops All Bards game where it's like a traveling performance group and they can like go around collect fans as like a main thing they do. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Well, that was the thing that I wanted to check out, and that's why you should always check out the Kobold Press blog, because you never know. Was this created by? Yes, this was created by John Joseph Adams. He wrote it for Hey Hawkeye. He created it for the Kobold Press blog. You can find a bunch of stuff on the blog. Especially our downtime stuff. Seems to John Joseph Adams also did. Ooh, what is this? Building and setting traps. Oh, this is downtime stuff for dealing with raiders. Oh, this is cool. Creating difficult terrain, creating traps, building and setting traps. That's sick. That's sick. Let me get this link for y'all. But don't forget, you can always just go to the Kobold Press blog and find something real neat. Yeah. Let's see. Well, what else came onto the blog today? Rider monsters. Yeah. Scarecase. Won't someone think of the Tarrasques? A Tarmite? Is this like a tiny Tarrasque, a medium monstrosity CR11? Right? All kinds of like, ooh. Having a fan who's a little too parasocial gets too into it, and they start fighting. They start kidnapping your rivals because they're like, you're the best. Just think of all the shenanigans that could happen. I think that'd be fun. Sick. All right, well, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Hold on, get over here. Thank you so much for being here for another Kobold Chats. I'm going to see you all next week for, let's see, what's on my schedule for next week? I can take a little look-see. What we doing next week? Oh, duh, I forgot. Next week is the Kobold Scarecase. We won't have Kobold Chats because we'll be playing Pokemon Soul Silver as a part of the Kobold Press Scarecase, and we are going to be playing Pokemon Soul Silver, be doing a Nuzlocke, and you'll be able to find out. We'll be revealing monsters from the Monster Vault 2 as a part of as a part of me playing Pokemon. It's wild. My job is very wild. All right, everybody. I will see you all next week. Same Kobold time, same Kobold channel. Don't forget to go out. Be bold. Be brave. Be valiant. Yeah.